The ROVAL.
17 turns, 2.28 miles.
It's 400 kilometers of twisting, bumping, and fighting your way to the front.
So far, the playoffs have been full of drama, tempers.
Anytime you run into him, it's a problem.
I don't care who he is or how long he's been doing it. I'm going to stand up for myself and my team.
And history.
It obviously brings a lot of emotion, a lot of joy to my family.
The ROVAL is here to shake things up.
After Sunday, 4 drivers, including some big names, will be eliminated. The Charlotte ROVAL Showdown starts now. Well, it began 4 years ago as a dream, as a vision, and now the ROVAL sits as a pillar of the NASCAR playoffs. After this weekend, 4 drivers in each series will get, let's call it, an extended stay in Charlotte as the playoffs roll along. Nick Carboni here with Ashley Stroline, and welcome to Charlotte ROVAL Showdown.
Well, look, while playoff drivers and teams are worrying about their game plan and how they're going to survive the ROVAL, we're enjoying our Friday night here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We've got a fun show ahead. Here's a look at what to expect in the next hour.
We sat down with BUBBA Wallace, who earned a very meaningful victory Monday at Talladega. We drove the ROVAL with one of the track's promoters and designers, who explains its many twists and turns.
Two-time defending ROVAL champion Chase Elliott will join the show as he seeks a three-peat, but also tries to avoid elimination. And we have an exclusive tour of Rick Hendrick's amazing Heritage Center. Cars and guitars galore. All right, so we've got a jam-packed show ahead of a jam-packed weekend here at the Speedway.
Yeah, let's talk about what's coming on the track here at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. It begins tomorrow with the Xfinity Series playoff race. The Drive for the Cure 250 begins at 3 o'clock on WCNC Charlotte. They're going to go 67 laps around the ROVAL.
Then on Sunday, the Cup drivers will take their 4th crack at the track. The Bank of America ROVAL 400 is at 2 o'clock on WCNC Charlotte.
And everybody may have noticed it's been a little bit wet today. Nobody cares if it rains on us. Sorry to say. They do care if it rains on race day.
Yeah, so we checked in with our good friend and chief meteorologist Brad Pinovich about what to expect this weekend.
Thanks, guys. We could see some rain to start the race weekend, but the good news is this front pushes through fairly early on Saturday. That should push off to the east. Even though that low pressure forms on the coast, it'll dry out here for the track starting late Saturday and especially into Sunday. So the good news for the race weekend, we'll probably start with a little clouds and showers. Could be kind of iffy early on Saturday, but no washout. And Sunday looks absolutely picture perfect. In fact, if we break down the forecast for the ROVAL 400, I mean, we are going to see temperatures at noontime in the low 70s. As the race goes on, it will be warmer than it normally is in the month of October. Temperatures pushing the upper 70s, but a stiff northeast breeze will make it feel even nicer. And the good news, no rain to worry about on Sunday.
All right, now that we know the weather, let's talk about the playoffs and those clinching scenarios for some of the drivers.
That's right, Stro. It's tight. A lot of drivers are worried. It started with 16 drivers, down to 12, and after this weekend, it'll be all the way down to 8. Here's who they are and how they got there. 16 drivers entered the first playoff race at Darlington. After 3 races, the field was cut to 12, with Almirola, Reddick, Kurt Busch, and Michael McDowell eliminated.
Through 2 races in the round of 12, only Denny Hamlin can count himself in to the next round after winning at Las Vegas. Chase Elliott and Kyle Busch are hanging on to a spot.
Entering the weekend, Kevin Harvick, Alex Bowman, and William Byron are on the outside looking in and have lots of work to do on Sunday.
All right, if I'm Denny Hamlin, I'm sleeping just fine in Charlotte this weekend.
Except, Stro, that no driver has won the ROVAL from pole position. Just throwing that in there.
That's fine.
Denny.
Whatever.
All right,
he's out of the round of 8. Who cares?
To talk about the drivers, what they're going through in this race, we brought up NBC sports analyst Kyle Petty.
Well, Kyle, it's been interesting. I've asked a number of drivers in the Cup Series, do they find it harder or easier coming to this track for the 4th year in a row? And I've gotten both responses. Some say easier because they've had a few times doing it now. Some say harder because teams have that information that didn't have year 1.
Chase Elliott finds it easy.
Yes, he does.
He's never found driving through the tunnel here and running this thing not easy, I think. But I think some teams find it harder because they begin to put pressure on themselves because they know they should be better. They should have better results than what they do. It's a tough little racetrack. It's very technical through the infield. It's slow. They talk about how slow it is, but we see so much action. Once they leave down here and whatever that corner is where they keep running it, when they keep running in the wall, once they leave there, there's mayhem. There can be mayhem in the infield. And really, I think when we all looked at it to begin with, we were like, oh, man, they're going to be on the banks. They're going to be all hauling the mail when they try to break and all this stuff. But I think it does go both ways. But it's like that for all tracks.
Heading into this race, Denny Hamlin, the only playoff driver that feels good.
Yeah.
He's the only one that's advanced to the round 3, the round of 8 people. So how are these other 11 drivers feeling coming into this ROVAL race?
Well, honestly, coming off of Talladega, I don't think any of them have slept all week because even Kyle Larson, he lost 30-some points after Talladega. So he and I think Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex, they're all within a couple of points. And then you've got, Chase and those guys are +9. And then you've got the great Kevin Harvick, who is an incredible race car driver, lurking just under that line. So it can be a big swing. We saw 30-some points with Kyle Larson, the guy who had dominated this year, won 5 or 6 races, had just blown everybody off everywhere we went. And now he's back in the pack. So I don't think anybody but Denny Hamlin has slept all week.
Is there any jealousy on your part that you never got to try a track like this, or is there so many variables that you don't even want to contend with it?
So I'm very fortunate that Dale Jarrett and I get to do pre-race and post-race, and when you're doing pre-race and you look in the eyes of some of these drivers, it's like, man, I'm glad I'm not him. I'm glad I'm not. There's no jealousy, man. To be back in that position again, to be able to drive a car is one thing, but the pressure these guys have now, the pressure they feel from their sponsors, the pressure they feel from the fans, the pressure they put on themselves to advance to the round of 8. And it comes down to one race. This is like standing over that final putt at the Masters or at a huge golf tournament, out at Quail. You're standing over that thing and man, you make this putt. You get to go on, man. You get to go. And the problem is there's going to be a lot of missed putts here when they run the ROVAL.
Bubba Wallace gets his first career win. He's just the second African-American to ever win at the highest level of NASCAR.
There it is. Bubba Wallace getting his first career Cup Series win at Talladega earlier this week. An emotional victory for sure, becoming the first black driver in nearly 60 years to win at the Cup level. Now, I sat down with Bubba Wallace to talk about what this win means to him and also the 2311 race team. Mentioned 2311 obviously being year 1 for them. To celebrate that win with the guys on your crew, the people in the race shop, co-owners Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, what was that like for you?
The coolest part about getting our first win was, I don't know the exact stat line, so don't quote me on this, but I'm going to go with 90 to 95% of our team just got their first win. Oh, wow. Like, that's cool. That's really cool. And so, I'm proud of them, because they've never been in that situation before. And the majority of us haven't. But we were all able to rise to the occasion and not let the hype get to us. That one of the craziest races. Talladega is a beast of its own, but we were able to pull through and get our first win. And we've seen MJ at the track. We know how passionate he is about this sport, about his team, and about you getting a win. So what was your conversation with him like? It was short and sweet. I was like, hey, man, I just landed. I'm going to the house to party. And he was like, he's just proud. He's happy for the team, proud of the team. But his winning mentality, he's like, all right, let's keep it up. Don't get complacent. Right. Celebrate this one, and then on Tuesday, let's get back to work. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. For you, when you put everything into perspective, if you go back to 2020, June of 2020, and then now October of 21, and you think about everything that you experienced personally, can you put that into perspective for me? What this last year plus has been like for you? Ups and downs, rounds and rounds. It's called life. You learn and you grow and you mature from moments like June of 2020. And you start to realize your place in the world, you realize your place in the sport, and you learn to appreciate parts of those things, you learn to hate some other parts of those things. And it's all part of it. So, for us, for me to go back to Talladega, it's no issue. I know to show up and I want to go win. And it was just crazy. Friday night, Saturday morning, Amanda and I looked at each other and we're like, we're gonna win. And she's like, yeah, we are. But not like a joking around confidence thing, but it was just like, I have a really good feeling, And it's just unreal that it happened.
You were awarded at Drive for Diversity Awards. You get the National Series driver. You got a little emotional during your speech, but what was that award like coming here and getting that?
It was like full circle. Being here, I remember when I was a kid, sitting there and just being a part of this deal, on a much smaller scale. And so 11 years ago, I was here just innocent bystander, and now being where I'm at today, being a winner, super cool.
Ashley, great interview, and what I love about that full circle moment is all the youngsters now looking up to Bubba on stage getting that award.
And today's his birthday, so a pretty great birthday week for Bubba Wallace, right? Getting that first win. I'm sure he's celebrating pretty good right now. Now, I also had the chance to talk to the co-owner of 2311 Racing, Denny Hamlin. He's having a great month as well, getting hot in the playoffs, winning as a driver and also as a team owner. Well, Denny, it's been a pretty exciting month or so for you. 2 wins as a driver to start the playoffs off, and then the second round of the playoffs, and then you get your first win as a team owner on Monday in Talladega with the 2311 team and Bubba Wallace getting the job done. What does it feel like to be you right now?
Yeah, it's pretty good, that's for sure. The last really 5 weeks has been really, really good. The playoffs have been good to us. We're winning early in rounds, so we get a few weekends to relax while others sweat it out. But we got one more weekend of temporary vacation this weekend in Charlotte, and hopefully we can get a win. I'd love to just stack up some more playoff points for that next round. To now have the relationship as team owner and driver, and obviously Bubba's went through a lot, right? If we go back to last year and everything he's went through, to then this year and getting the checkered flag at Dega. What are, some of the conversations been like off the track that you guys have had, and how have you been there for him through, outside noise, performing on the track, and just everything extra that he's had to deal with? Yeah, I mean, certainly I think that he's got a ton on his plate as it is, and a lot of expectations and a lot of pressure. And I think that's kind of where I thought Bubba could improve in his craft, is that not getting too high or too low depending on the situation. He definitely wears his emotions on his sleeve, and I think that when adversity happens, is kind of how do you respond to that adversity during the course of a race that typically will be the deciding factor of your result. So I think certainly as he matures and gets older and more experienced, he's going to be able to handle those situations even better. And I'm pretty optimistic, that this momentum is going to carry and really do good for him and his career in the long haul. Yeah, a lot of great of emotions on his sleeve on Monday.
All right, still to come tonight. Did you ever wonder what it's like to ride the ROVAL? I found out. I'll share that experience with you up close. Stick around and feel every bit of these 17 turns.
Plus, NASCAR champ, 2-time ROVAL winner Chase Elliott getting ready for a 3rd try at Victory Lane in Charlotte, what he thinks his chances are, and how he's preparing next.
This is a rare one right here. I was supposed to ride with Mario Andretti one year at the Indy race, at Indy 500, and I didn't, so Lady Gaga rode with him and took my place. And so I said, okay, I want a helmet and I want you to sign a guitar. So she did and he did, and so Lady Gaga said, if the Nashville thing doesn't work out, there's always racing. So that's
all right, don't go away. Oh.
Whether it's racing's biggest stars, music's biggest stars, sports' biggest stars, you name it, Rick Hendrick is in with every crowd and has the memorabilia to prove it. Coming up later in the show, we take a look at his amazing collections. You don't want to miss it.
And don't go away. We've got a jam-packed show tonight, bringing you all the way to Victory Lane. Charlotte ROVAL Showdown continues after this.
They touch. Jimmy Johnson spins. Martin Truex Jr. gets hit by Johnson. They are both spun out. Here comes Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney will survive and win the Bank of America ROVAL 400.
Doug Rice on the call. What a finish in that first ROVAL race. Martin Truex Jr., Jimmy Johnson spin out while battling through that front stretch chicane. Ryan Blaney right there for the exciting victory. Only his only win of the season. He has a career-high 3 victories this year. And when Chase Elliott won the first of his 2 straight Roval races in 2019, he did his burnout into the wall at Turn 1, the very wall he drove straight into on lap 65. Of course, Elliott won it again last year. Now, Elliott and Blaney are the only 2 Roval 400 winners in the Cup Series, and only 2 Xfinity drivers have won it in 3 years. A.J. Allmendinger, a 2-time defending champion as well. Chase Briscoe winning the original Drive for the Cure back in 2019. We've already had signature moments through 3 sets of Roval races.
Oh, yeah. My favorite is hitting the wall and then winning, and
Right
then the
back to
burnout,
it.
celebrating at Heartburn Turn, right? Pretty epic. And, of course, we talked to the reigning Cup Series champ, Chase Elliott, about maybe repeating as Cup champ, but also maybe making it to victory lane for the 3rd time here at the Roval. Well, Chase, first off, let's go back to 2018 for the first Roval race. What were your thoughts when you heard that was going to happen, and then after the race when you guys finished it?
I mean, I think everyone was a little skeptical. You know, it's a pretty small area to, you know, try to cram a road course in there to a mile and a half. But, you know, it has its characteristics that are unique to it. I think we all kind of knew that going in. I do think there was a lot of negativity around it going into it, and I do feel like it was a little better than we all thought it would be, myself included.
Well, you've certainly made the most of it. You've won back-to-back races at the Roval. What is it about you and that track that gets along so well?
Yeah, we've had a good road course package for the past number of years, and you know, that track is just super unique. There's a lot of just little things there that can make a big difference. You know, first year went really good. Feel like everyone, you know, was better last year, and I'm sure they'll be better again this year. So we need to be better ourselves, and you know, I need to do a better job, try to find a little more in certain areas, and hopefully have a good result.
And the last time you guys were at Charlotte Motor Speedway, it was a really special night for Mr. Hendrick. He gets the win. Kyle Larson gets the checkered flag. He gets the win that puts him at the top of the winningest team owner of all time. So what has your time at Hendrick Motorsports been like?
For me, I mean, you know, Mr. Hendrick changed my life, honestly, and I feel like he's changed the life of a lot of people, not just drivers, but a lot of folks within the racing community and beyond. I feel like I owe him everything for, you know, taking a chance on me when he did, sticking with me when he did. It's been an amazing ride. Appreciate everything he's done, and, you know, look forward to, you know, trying to help elevate his team down the road.
And you are obviously the reigning Cup Series champ. What would it mean to repeat and do that again this year?
Yeah, it'd be great. You know, it's obviously the goal every year, and as a team, we've been in a good place all year. But I feel like we've been performing better and at a really nice level the past month. And I think I've said that a few times. I'm really proud of that, and I feel like we're headed in the right direction.
All right, now Chase Elliott is the defending Cup Series champion and the 2-time defending champion here at the Roval. Of his 13 career wins, 7 of them are on road courses. That's already the 3rd best in NASCAR history. And he's the only driver in history to win Cup Series races on 5 different road courses.
All right, ahead on the Charlotte Roval Showdown, we're talking a 7-time NASCAR champ turned IndyCar rookie Jimmie Johnson. Hear about his life in a new car and the possibility of getting back in a Cup car. We'll see.
All right, plus some of the walls here at the Speedway now donning a different shade. The pit wall is now pink to honor breast cancer awareness. Coming up, a look as survivors and supporters picked up the paint rollers. And we've got that and a whole lot more on the Charlotte Roval Showdown. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a few.
And welcome back to Charlotte Roval Showdown. Stroh, of course, this year, the fall race at Charlotte Motor Speedway running in October, and that is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah, the NASCAR family really wanting to get the word out to survivors that you are not alone. So along with Blue Cross Blue Shield Drive for the Cure 250, every driver will have a pink window net. The story of how it came to be is special. A fan wrote Kurt Busch a letter asking, is the window net, could it be pink? And if so, could it honor his mom and other survivors that are fighting breast cancer? And Kurt said, you know what? What a great idea.
Awesome. Here is Kurt, that fan, and more highlights from the wonderful day that they painted the wall pink.
It is truly humbling to share the day with so many breast cancer survivors, to hear their stories, and to be a part of providing hope to those currently battling breast cancer and letting them know that they are not alone in the fight.
Pink ribbons will actually be displayed in the winner's circle during the Drive for the Cure on October the 9th.
We all have our reasons why we've gotten involved in the fight against breast cancer. For some, it's a catalyst for change to try to find a cure. For others, breast cancer has hit too close to home. Whatever the reason, I thank you for being here today. Your support means the world to survivors like me.
Kurt, it's a really special day here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Paint the Wall Pink, it's their annual event to honor breast cancer survivors and their family members. But you actually have put together a new initiative, Window of Hope. Tell me about how that came together. I know it was a special letter that you received from a young fan named Mason.
Yeah, I had a race fan write me a letter, and we try to go through as many as we can. And he loves the monster paint scheme, and he's a fan of mine. And he goes, wouldn't it be cool if we could get the window nets pink to support my mom in the breast cancer fight that she's going through? And I went, that's a great idea. And so I'm so proud that everybody in the NASCAR Cup race at the ROVAL will have a pink window net supporting breast cancer.
What does that mean to you to see the whole sport get behind supporting your mom and other breast cancer survivors?
It's just really awesome to see all of them just coming and really supporting, finding a cure for this. It's amazing.
And for you to be here with other survivors and to share this day and to paint the wall pink and to be with your family after your battle, what does that mean to you?
I can't even put it into words. For the ones that are fighting, just to keep fighting, don't give up.
What are these moments like for you two to be here together and to get to have days like this?
They're the best days.
All right, I won't lie, that makes me a little emotional every time that I rewatch that story because it's such a beautiful moment and it shows what one small gesture can do to support so many people.
Yeah, speaking of gestures, Kurt Busch telling us that Mason, the young man who wrote the letter on behalf of his mom, he will be at the races this weekend here in the pit box, headset on, having the time of his life, and they definitely deserve that.
Yes, they do.
All right, coming up, the ROVAL course has become one of the toughest races on the NASCAR schedule. So what makes it so difficult? I wanted to see for myself. Luckily got the chance to do so. We're going to take you for a ride next.
These were all cars from different Transformer movies, but that's the original Optimus Prime.
Oh,
so
wow.
when kids come in here and they see the robot and Optimus Prime, it's been a big hit.
All right, you don't have to be a kid for this to be a big hit. Rick Hendrick's collection of cars, guitars, and more. It's impressive for the young and the young at heart and everyone in between. Stay tuned. We have our one-on-one tour coming up later in the show.
Another look at that pink pit wall so powerful every year. Charlotte ROVAL Showdown continues next.
Welcome back to Charlotte ROVAL Showdown, live from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Here's a live look down at the ROVAL. It's the calm before the storm, Nick.
That's right, Stro. We've talked about the drivers and where they sit in the playoff standings and all that, but what about the track that they have to contend with? Let's give you a look at the ROVAL. It's 2.28 miles. It has 17 turns, chicanes on the front and back stretches, and actually a 35-foot elevation change. Now, since the first run in 2018, it's quickly become known as one of the most challenging tracks in the sport, with no other course like it. So we wanted to know a little bit more about how these drivers, these teams set up for this race, for this track, and what it feels like to be in the car. So I took a trip with track vice president Greg Walter.
All right, you ready for this?
Yes, sir. Okay, Greg, you're a good track designer and promoter. Are you a good ROVAL driver?
No, first time out. First time I've ever done this, so don't be nervous at all.
Well, I have a map in case you need directions. You guys put these drivers in a position immediately, both from the start-finish and the pit road, to take this sharp left-hand turn in turn one.
It is. And so once you cross this yellow line, it is on like Donkey Kong. They can get the speed real quick, just like this.
There you go. Now, as they go through this, this is really the meat of the road course. What are they trying to accomplish speed-wise and in terms of just staying on track and staying in position?
Well, of course, obviously, for the driver, trying to get as much gain in position and then set up for the next turn. With this being such a technical course, the driver's got to think 2-3 turns ahead in terms of maximizing what they do. Remember, in a road course, braking zones equal passing zones.
How did these teams set up the cars to be half road and half oval? That's got to be really challenging.
Well, that was one of the objections early on for us, was that the teams, the amount they would have to invest in setting these cars up properly to be able to handle the physics and dynamics that the car has to go through when it goes through this course.
And now we approach the backstretch chicane. You're probably topping out your speed here, and then you've got to go down to first gear, these drivers, through this thing.
Hold on.
Nicely done.
I think I lied about this being my first time.
Yeah, you've done this before.
Now, this front stretch chicane was put in because Marcus wanted a place where, bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, 2 outs.
Yep.
And it was that last ditch effort. And you saw that, of course,
right away
with the first ROVAL with Truex and Jimmy Johnson. So you're going to hit this apex here, clip this one, and then clip that one.
And then pick up speed right as you come out of it for start finish.
Yep.
Beautiful. How much fun was it to be tasked with helping set all of this up? Something totally different in NASCAR, totally different for Charlotte Motor Speedway, but you're breaking a little bit of tradition to do it.
It was incredibly exciting to do so, to be part of a team that brought all this to life. I mean, this was a vision that our CEO had in terms of, we want to do something different. And we have this culture of being constructively discontent. How do we go from good to great or great to awesome? The ROVAL was just that manifestation of that, of doing something different in racing. And there was no room for error. We needed to be sure that we got it right the first time, because the naysayers, if we didn't get it right, the naysayers would say we should never make those kind of changes. This was a bad idea. So there was a lot of stress and pressure we put on ourselves that this had to be perfect the first time out.
Have you perfected it yet?
I don't know if I've perfected it. I haven't made you grab the handle yet, so the challenges that the ROVAL presents to a team are probably unlike anything else they experience, because you have this blended oval road course, i.e. the ROVAL. There's the greatest drivers in the world, and the ROVAL presents the challenges, I think, that brings out their best.
It's a great course. Thank you for driving it for us.
I enjoyed it.
Are there any open spots Saturday or Sunday you might want to jump in a car?
If there is one, I'll give you the keys and let you give it a shot.
Oh, well, yeah, I might need to take it for a test drive first. You got this thing down. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
All right, Nick, you actually texted me after you did that ride along, and you were like, this is the most fun I've ever had. And I was so happy that was your experience.
I'm not going to lie. I had a blast. And I'm taking him up on that offer to put the keys in the ignition and take one for a spin myself. You can see the entire, we took 10 laps. You can see all of it on WCNC.com and the WCNC Charlotte YouTube page. Big changes, by the way, and the ROVAL's a catalyst for the Cup Series schedule going forward. Let's take a look at the 2022 schedule. The Clash will take place at the LA Coliseum. Bristol Night Race is back Easter Sunday. All-Star Race goes back to Texas. Coke 600 on Memorial Day weekend, as it always has been.
Yeah, and of course that Bristol Night Race is going to be a dirt race. They'll go to St. Louis for the first time, another trip to Nashville and Road America. The ROVAL, once again, an elimination race yet again on October 9th, and Phoenix will host the championship for the third straight year right here on WCNC Charlotte. And still to come tonight, we hear from 7-time champ Jimmy Johnson on life after NASCAR and his thoughts on a possible return. You'll have to see what he has to say. That's coming up next.
And check it out, a look at the Xfinity Series garages. Nobody in there now, but they will be hard at work for tomorrow's race. Charlotte ROVAL Showdown continues next.
Down the backstretch for the final time. It has been 24 races since Jimmy Johnson, a 6-time champion, a 7-time winner at this racetrack, has been to victory lane as he comes out of 4. Jimmy Johnson wins at Charlotte.
All right, now before the ROVAL came to Charlotte, we had the Bank of America 500. Jimmy Johnson won it back in 2016 on his way to a 7th Cup championship. And as everybody saw earlier in the show, Jimmy Johnson's ROVAL finishes less than ideal.
Yeah, for him, yes. Good highlight reel, though.
Exactly,
right?
for us.
Yeah, well, earlier this week, he was here in town actually to give back to the community, holding his annual golf tournament at Quail Hollow Club. I had the chance to catch up with him and talk about his IndyCar rookie season and those rumors about a possible NASCAR return.
Let's talk about your rookie season. You officially get to mark rookie off the list, right? When you look over the last year and going and competing in IndyCar, what comes to mind for you, and what are your takeaways?
Just how much fun I've had with this new challenge. It's certainly been a challenge. I think that caught me out a little bit. The way I was performing at the end of the year is how I thought I would start the year. But the series is so different. New tracks, new cars to learn, new technology to learn within the race cars. But it's been a very fun journey for me and my family.
What was the biggest surprise for you this year going into IndyCar, and now that you've completed that rookie season? Was there something that you were just like, I didn't see that coming, I didn't expect that, as far as a takeaway?
I would say the physicality of the cars. They do not have power steering. They have a lot of power for the weight of the vehicle, and it is, I mean, you're wrestling that car around, and I always thought we wrestled the Cup cars around, but the intensity and just kind of the violence of the car was really, really interesting to me this year.
And speaking of NASCAR, obviously the Xfinity and Cup Series coming to Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend for the ROVAL. Can you take me back to 2018 and when that race got put on the schedule and what the atmosphere was, and actually going out there and running it for the first time?
Yeah, I think we were concerned in some respects just with the new track and playoff implications. But I think it's really turned into a track that fans and drivers all enjoy and love. I've been on a highlight reel or two trying to go for a win at the track. I think it just adds a really neat and interesting layer to NASCAR.
If I type your name in Google, obviously a headline that comes up still, even this week, is you possibly coming back to the Cup Series and running a race or two. I know your schedule is going to be full for 2022 for what you're already doing, but just, is that going to happen? What are your thoughts on that, and how much do you want it to happen?
I can't say I've had any real serious conversations about it. I'm certainly open to it, but depending on my IndyCar schedule and then certainly the IMSA car schedule, if I'm able to put that together, I've always wanted to be about 20 races, and I'm pretty close to the 20 races if next year goes as I think it will. So I don't know, but I have an open eye to it.
Now, as we mentioned earlier, Jimmy was in town for this annual golf tournament for the Jimmy Johnson Foundation. Here's a look at him swinging on the course in Quail Hollow. If you'd like to learn more about his foundation and what you can do to help, we have that up at WCNC.com, but that event itself raised over $465,000 for public schools.
I just really enjoy just walking through it because it's just walking back in time.
Well, I can tell you, I really enjoyed walking through there as well. Rick Hendrick took me and our photographer, Mike Hansen, through his amazing collection. And coming up in about 3 minutes, you'll get a walk through too. Stick around for the grand tour. Charlotte ROVAL Showdown is back after the break.
Well, the ROVAL race is a big one for Hendrick Motorsports. All 4 Hendrick Chevrolets are still in the playoffs. Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, William Byron, and reigning champ, 2-time ROVAL winner Chase Elliott. But how many of them will make it to the round of 8?
We'll find out. But for now, let's go to something a little more special. How about the Hendrick Heritage Tour that we've been telling you guys about? So special. We've been showing you clips of his guitar collection, of his car collection. We talked one-on-one with Mr. Hendrick about it all. Here's a look.
You've been collecting cars for a long time, but now you've got, I know this isn't all of them, but you have a lot of them in one place, and you put together something that's pretty special for you.
I've always been a car nut, and my first car is right here, so I don't get rid of anything. I love to walk in here because it just takes me back in time. I just have flashbacks of, I can tell you a little bit about every car in here, and it just makes me feel good, feel alive, and again, pay tribute to my family.
You mentioned that 31 Chevy that we're sitting in front of doing this interview. When you see that car, what are the memories that come to mind for you?
I think about, I bought it for $250, and when I brought it home, my mother said, You paid $250 for that thing. I think I was 14 years old, and I had worked in the summer in tobacco, and that was the money I made. And my dad and I built it in my granddad's general store, and then I worked on it in automotive mechanics in high school. And then I left home, and I hadn't seen it. And on my 40th birthday, my dad drove it into City Chevrolet with my wife and 2 kids in the rumble seat. So it's
pretty special.
It's a family tradition, I'd say.
Yeah, and you also raced it, right?
I drag raced it, yeah. I was successful with that. So the car has just been a part of my life.
You talk about working on your first Corvette. I know you said you have that here now, but at one point in time you wanted just to be able to get that car, right? Put it into perspective for me, or can you, going from that moment to where you are now in your life?
To get that car, I had one of my buddies call me and said he had a friend that had a Corvette that had a problem with the motor. Would I work on it? And I said, sure. And when I went over and looked at it and diagnosed it, he said, well, you know anybody who wants to buy it? And I said, well, what do you want for it? And he said, well, I'll take $1,000. It took me 3 notes to get $1,000 together to be able to buy it. And then I think about how excited I was and how many times I painted that car, different colors and different wheels and all that. It was just kind of my baby. And I dated my wife the first night in that car. And when we first met, and it broke down on the highway, and I had to crawl under and put a starter wire together before make it run. So she talks about that still, but
it worked out okay.
It worked out okay. She's happy now. But I just remember going to the dealerships when I was 13 or 14 years old, and the new cars would come out, and they'd paper the walls, and everybody would go see the new cars. So you couldn't go see them. One day, all the cars came out, and I remember how excited I was about sitting in a '63 Chevrolet 409 and just drooling over the car. And I have one now.
Well, let's take a walk around, and I'll have you point out a few of your favorites to me.
Sure. Now, this is King Leopold of Belgium's car. Now, he had 3 Corvettes. They were all silver.
Okay.
And I have all 3 of them. And then we have the movie cars from the Transformers. This thing, we had it on rollers coming down the driveway to put it in here.
Yeah.
And to see it come down the street on a pallet, it looked real. I mean, it
right,
looked like you were right in you're right in the movie. Yeah. This is Roy Orbison's car, and I have all the documentation with it, and it's a super rare 427, 435 horse with black with red interior. Black is a very rare color back in those days. Almost at the same time I started heavy collecting, I started getting into guitars, and so now I've got a pretty good guitar collection.
I know, I heard about that too.
Have you seen it?
I have not.
We need to show that to you.
Well, let's look at it.
Okay.
Oh, this is awesome. Well, now how many guitars do you have?
I've got a couple hundred guitars. One of my buddies that I really enjoy listening to is Chris Stapleton.
Oh, so good.
Chris signed it, and then Justin Timberlake signed it, because I love that song they did together.
I love that you have the drive-in in here. Was that just something you wanted to put in, or is it a special drive-in, or?
Well, we call it the Bel Air drive-in, and Bel Air was an old Chevrolet. Mm-hmm. And so there are a lot of creative people here. I can't take the credit for it all. And just ideas kept popping up. So we just continued to do things, and thought the drive-in was pretty cool.
It is.
That is so cool. And one thing you didn't show that I know you saw, a Babe Ruth game-used bat. He had 2 home runs with it.
Yeah, I know exactly where that's stashed in Mr. H's collection. I mean, there were just so many cool things, and just a really special day that he took his time to come give us that tour and tell us story after story. But each thing he really has a personal connection to, and you see where his love of cars came from, his humble beginnings. I mean, he even had to sell his first Corvette that he worked so hard to get. He got it back and then some, right? Plenty of Corvettes in that car collection now. And we had that full exclusive interview with Mr. Mr. Hendrick right now up on WCNC.com. You can see more of our tour through the Hendrick Heritage Center and hear more of his stories.
One more lap to go here on Charlotte Roval Showdown. Coming up, we're going to make our predictions. Stick around. All right, Roval prediction time. Who you got?
You know, this is hard for me, but I'm going to go with Kyle Larson. He's been the guy all year, back in victory lane for the Roval.
I'm going to go in a wild card race with a wild card pick. Charlotte's William Byron. He needs to win to get into the next round. And both races this weekend, of course, are on WCNC Charlotte. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Who will be in victory lane Saturday and Sunday? We'll find out in the next few days.